boy was surprised to find that his beautiful cousin, who graduated from a top university, was willing to take care of his grandfather who was paralyzed in bed due to incontinence in the hospital. With just a glance from his grandfather, his cousin could immediately understand his grandfather's needs. The boy was very confused at first. He couldn't help asking his cousin why she, a top student, would give up a decent job in a high-tech industry and come here to be a free caregiver. But his cousin just replied, "I'm doing it." However, the boy didn't understand what his cousin meant at all. He left with a look of disgust. Until the day his grandfather passed away, each of his sons in his grandfather's family only received 5,000 yuan, but his cousin received 2 houses worth 10 billion yuan. At this moment, the boy instantly understood what his cousin said. This immediately reminded the boy of his grandmother who had cancer and only had half a year left to live. She happened to have a house under her name. So the boy went to a real estate agency to evaluate the value of the house. He learned that the house could be sold for 10 million yuan. The boy instantly smelled an opportunity to make a fortune, so he bought beef and roast chicken to visit his grandmother. But the boy didn't know that his grandmother had been a vegetarian for years. When he heard his grandmother say she was going to cook noodles, he immediately felt that the opportunity to show off had come. So he immediately stopped his grandmother and took the initiative to say that he would help his grandmother cook noodles. Seeing that the boy was very sincere, his grandmother let the boy go. Surprisingly, when his grandmother just took a nap, thick smoke came out of the kitchen. When the grandmother walked into the kitchen, she found that a hole had been burned in the iron pot. This iron pot was bought when the grandmother married her husband. It had been used for more than 60 years without any problems, but the boy burned the pot as soon as he came. The angry grandmother ruthlessly drove the boy out of the house. Helplessly, the boy could only ask his cousin to learn about the experience of taking care of the elderly. Seeing that his cousin had transformed from a poor student into a noble lady, he immediately made up his mind to get the approval of his grandmother. But his cousin just told the boy that his grandmother was just old, not a fool. He must treat her with sincerity. If he makes the other person feel that all the good things are as purposeful, then all efforts will be in vain. After listening to his cousin, the boy specially learned cooking from his mother. He also moved to his grandmother's house. When he heard his grandmother exaggerate that his cooking was delicious, the boy suddenly felt that he was getting closer and closer to his dream of getting rich. At this time, the second uncle suddenly came back. He pushed the boy away and started to eat voraciously. After eating, the second uncle knelt in front of his mother with a pitiful face and asked his mother to lend him 10,000 yuan, otherwise he would not be able to afford to eat. Looking at this useless son, the mother walked helplessly to the cabinet where she kept her money. After the son learned where his mother kept the money, he began to pretend to have a stomachache to get rid of his mother and the boy. The boy and his grandmother came back. The second uncle had disappeared, but the grandmother was not surprised at all. She told the boy that she hoped her son would never come to see her. At this time, the boy did not understand what his grandmother's worry meant. All he thought about was how to get his grandmother's approval, so that he could become rich overnight like his cousin. At night, the boy not brought foot bath to his grandmother, but also washed her feet himself. But the boy's sudden abnormal behavior made his grandmother realize instantly. The results of her examination at the hospital yesterday were deadly. Not as simple as her daughter said. Under the grandmother's questioning, the boy finally told her that his grandmother had cancer. But it was not surprising at all, because she had already prepared for this mentally. The boy immediately showed his concern to his grandmother. He comforted his grandmother that many cancer patients can recover now that medicine is advanced. In order to accompany his grandmother, the boy took the quilt to his grandmother's room and said that he wanted to stay with his grandmother like when he was a child. The boy also asked his grandmother to sing him a lullaby like when he was a child. Listening to the familiar song, the boy fell asleep peacefully. At this moment, the grandmother also remembered the boy's childhood appearance. That day, the grandmother specially dressed herself up. She took out her purse and wanted the boy to buy some vegetables. She wanted to call all her children home come to eat. The boy saw that his grandmother and he were getting along better and better. He went out very happily. But he didn't know that his grandmother's health was getting worse and worse. When the children sat together, the grandmother took out an envelope and put it on the table, claiming that it contained her will for property distribution. After hearing the will, several people had different expressions, but the boy was secretly happy in his heart. He thought that he had taken good care of his grandmother during this period. He was sure that his grandmother would definitely leave the house to him. At this time, the grandmother's eldest son showed filial piety on the spot. He said that he knew several experts in the hospital and would take his mother to see a doctor tomorrow. Then he took out a stack of money from his bag and handed it to the boy, claiming that it was a reward for the boy to take care of his grandmother during this period. The boy quickly refused and said that he didn't take care of his grandmother for money. But the most useless second son did not hide that he just wanted to know the contents of his mother's will. When the most incompetent second son opened the will, everyone at the dinner table immediately showed puzzled expressions.